welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and it is Case on the 5th. And have you ever had one of those days where things are going along relatively well and then suddenly you've lost something? Well, the thing I have lost is the card that I cased from, and I want you to take a look at something. If you'll notice, this penguin is completely different from the ones in our stamp set. I knew I couldn't do this and sit down. It just wasn't going to happen. And make sure that everything was in frame. Okay. So as you can see, this little guy's feet are separate. And they're also going up on him. There are no lines defining him. This one, see if I can widen him out. Oops. I did not notice I noticed the difference in the penguin, but I thought it was just her creative artistry that got us there. So I went ahead and used Penguin Palace, but with a totally different outline. And this is where we're going with this. She had this penguin with a Santa hat on in the center of the squares. And I thought she had it in the red glitter paper. He had a red bow on his neck instead of the scarf, and I thought that's really cute. But what do you do when you don't have those things? Well, as I was going back looking for the card that I cased, I found that this set is not Penguin Place, it is Snow Place, a totally different set of stamps and dies that we no longer carry. And let me see if I can bring that one up. I thought I saved it. PP Christmas cards, maybe? No, of course not. Another one has disappeared from my site. I thought I had saved the set to show you, but apparently not. But it was a really cute set. So, here we are with the card that I made today. She had a double layer. She had an all-white background. And I want you to look at this. I just did not like the all-over white. It just bugged me. So, instead, I started with my 4.5 by 5.5, or my 4 4.25 by 5.5 card base, and then I cut down a 5.25 by 4 piece of the fresh Freesia cardstock. Then I cut out, these are 1 5/8 squares, and don't worry about the dimensions, I will have those down in the description box below. But these squares are 1 5/8 inch squares on a 3.5 inch piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock. And yes, my squares are kind of wonky. Tremors set in this morning and I was having trouble getting things to lay flat. So anyway, what I decided to do was I brought this up on Dimensionals, and what I did was I cut the border edges around excuse me, off of my mini pop dots or main dimensionals, because I'm waiting for my big dimensionals to come in. And you'll notice there's a couple of pieces. These pieces were this long, and I cut them down a little bit, and I'll show you what I did with those pieces in just a minute. But let's get this flipped over. It's one of those mornings. I'm really enjoying playing with this Penguin Place kit and the papers. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun with these papers. I made sure that I picked up an extra set when I put my order in last week. Remember, the paper is free with a $50 order from out of the catalog. And then what I did was I punched out one of the penguins. Now you have to be careful because your punch needs to go in this way, so you've got to cut around the penguin. But I didn't want to lose my polar bear up there. I might want to fussy cut him out. So And this bear's going to be lost anyway, so we can cut his toes off. So that I could come back in with my punch. I probably should have left myself a little bit more room. And punch out my penguin. Can you see that? Just like that. Now you'll get a couple of feet. You'll get a bear face you don't need, but that's okay. I also saved the little trees in case I want to embellish or create a tree grove. I saved them. The rest of that, well, wait a minute. Yeah, because I won't use the rest of that. And then what I did was I used pumpkin pie cardstock. Now, one of the colors they suggest for this is Calypso Coral. I really like the pumpkin pie better. And I come back and I punched out just feet. Punched out just feet just like that and glued them in place. Then I stamped out the hat from off of the set with the fresh freesia. And I took, I swear if I could find things this morning, I took our Shimmer Crystal Effects and went over his hat. Now I would recommend waiting till you've got everything ready to assemble. Do him first, set him aside and let him dry good. That Crystal Effects really needs a good hour plus to dry. I also used my 1/4 inch hole punch. And just punched out a piece of cardstock in that fresh freesia and glued it to the top of the hat so that I had a little bit more stability for one of our basic pearls. And that created that. Now remember those pieces I told you I cut off? This is one of them. And I put him right down the front of the middle of the penguin so he can go right there. Okay, now you're also going to need a strip of Misty Moonlight cardstock that is going to be, I did it 3 inches, maybe 3 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch because I wanted it to fit in the second track of this punch. Yeah, you're going to want to know what the name of that punch is, aren't you? And I don't have it labeled. We can fix that. That is the Lovely Labels punch. That is the Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. So this one, the white, is 1/2 inch by 2 1/2, and it slid. I feel like my fat fingers are in the way. It fed in this very bottom piece all the way up so that I could get that decorative end, and then I went a 1/4 inch bigger on the Misty Moonlight so it would fit in the second layer track and do the same thing and create my mat. And then I just used a couple of the basic white pearls again. This is where that other piece of the center came down, other piece of that strip came through the center, and a couple of the mini dimensionals. And I'm running out of edge pieces. I'll be glad when my order gets here when I've got the larger dimensionals to work with. I also, since clearing out over here, moved all of my dimensionals, and except for the bag I was working with over on the work table, I have no clue where all my dimensionals got put. It's going to be so fun putting everything back together. And then I stamped, I'd like you a lottle. That's kind of, it's like a little except a lot, and I will put that sentiment on the inside. And I may even stamp some snow corners down here with this. But the basic concept of this was she did the 4 squares on top of a square mat towards the top 2/3 or 3/4 of the card. And then her sentiment went across here in red, and I decided to put it down here at the bottom. So if you're looking at a card and you like it, but you don't have the exact same items, see what you've got in your stash that will work. You'll be surprised at what you have. Use this as your inspiration to jump off and create something that is uniquely you. I have a Facebook page now. It's a Facebook group. It's called Kelly's Creative Dreamers, and that's what my stamping group will be when I'm allowed to choose a name with Stampin' Up. So that is a private group where we can share and don't have to necessarily have it out there in the world. I will add that link down below. Please be patient if I don't get to you right away to get you added. I'm trying to get back into at least checking in with Facebook once a day. So if I haven't seen you when I check in the first time, I will catch you when I check in the next day. Okay? Thanks for joining me in the studio today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you back here on the 10th with 10 Christmas cards using Penguin Place. Have a great day. Creative blessings.